It's a familiar and discomforting spectacle. A woman who alleges sexual assault is also put on trial. She is grilled on the witness stand about why she continued to speak with a famous man she now charges with abuse, someone who had the power to shape her future. The man has to defend himself against the possibility of false accusations, and so it's open season on a woman's credibility. Andrea Constand's 2 days at the center of the Bill Cosby trial captured the dynamics that make sexual assault cases so polarizing and so resonant. Her testimony, picked over by Cosby's lawyers, occurred at a cultural moment when accusations of sexual assault or harassment have rocked a media empire, a presidential campaign, Silicon Valley startups, and countless college campuses. In a way, this is also a trial about how society grapples with the combustible questions of power, predation, and due process that complicate he said she said narratives. The jury is still out. Revelations about years of sexual harassment pushed out Roger Ailes and Bill O'Reilly at Fox News, but questions linger about how fundamentally the company's culture will change. Uber just fired 20 people after internal investigations of harassment. Political analysts wrongly predicted that Donald Trump's taped boasts about forcing himself on women would doom his candidacy. When something is ready to become a cultural narrative, everything feeds it, said Mark Harris, an author and the former executive editor of Entertainment Weekly, who also pointed to a 2016 HBO film about Anita Hill's public shaming after accusing Clarence Thomas of harassment. When people are finally willing to look something in the eye, culture almost conspires to tell them how much of it they are willing to look in the eye. In this case, the emotionally charged issues are legion. What happens to women who come forward, in and out of the courtroom? The roadblocks the system puts in the way. The question of who is and is not held accountable. When celebrity protects and when it backfires, intensifying public vitriol. When gender exposes or distorts the issues in play. More than 40 other women have come forward to describe similar episodes alleging that Cosby drugged and assaulted them. But the jury was allowed to hear only one other story beside Constand's. That was because many of the past cases were civil rather than criminal ones, and defense lawyers persuaded a judge to rule that allowing many others to testify would be like trying Cosby for other acts, not the one in question, said Elizabeth Schneider, a professor and specialist in gender law at Brooklyn Law School. Such rulings get to the heart of the challenges of ensuring a fair trial for men or women in sexual misconduct, which often takes place without other witnesses. Establishing or undermining credibility puts women through arduous legal procedures. For decades, women who filed rape accusations had to undergo mandatory psychological screening, and judges would caution juries that rape charges were easy to bring and hard to prove. While these barriers felt, juries are still often skeptical, and countless systemic obstacles remain, Schneider said, including the widespread practice of strict secrecy as the price of settlements. Howard Bragman, a publicist and crisis counselor who represented Sindra Ladd, who accused Cosby 2 years ago of drugging and raping her when she was 21 in 1969, said women must be prepared for public shaming, now amplified by social media. I tell them the pain and suffering they will come through, he said. You've got to be courageous. Have a support system. You've got to lawyer up. It takes money.